There. Right now, I think we're going to. Oh, it is on. Yay. All right, I think we're going to get started for our second half. Meet the candidates for the chair, vice chair. Good afternoon. My name is John Shawa. I am the treasurer for the election board. I'd like to welcome you all, and thank you very much for being here. So to get things started, if you will, each candidate has 2 minutes to present themselves, and then we will get into the question and answer. So, Gina?
Thank you everybody for coming in. It's a beautiful day out. We thank you for taking the time to come and listen to us. My name is Nakikwa Nabishinkaz Maganasi Madawakwe, which means hardworking woman, a woman that works a lot is what my father had given me as a name. And so I've always tried to live up to that name and do hard work and work for our people. First of all, I want to say Chibi Bridge to allow me to serve you in this duty. I hold close to my heart with all great respect, which is why I'm asking for the opportunity to move forward as your tribal chairperson for the next 4 years. During my time representing you, I have accomplished many things for this tribe, and I'm very proud of. Our youth department, we got it out of an old beat-up garage. We have it over on Emmett Street, and it's thriving. This year we had 33 youth sign up for our summer camp, and hopefully we are working on plans, and hopefully with the grants and with council being able to help us, we want to move the youth center over to this grounds out here, so they're out here with the government building. So that is in the near future, we're hoping, if everything works out. We are working on, and the pharmacy should be up and going by the end of summer, so we are moving our health clinic on. We have hired another doctor to help service our people. And another thing that we're really hoping to do is, through our elders department, Miss Arlene and them have been into trainings and stuff, so we're able to start building back some more services through our elders department, in which there will be money coming in to help support our tribe. So those are some of the accomplishments that we're proud of. As everybody knows, I'm always a big person on tribal preference. You know, I believe our children go to college to work for us and want to come home. So that's part of what we're here for. And John's saying my time's up, so I will answer any questions. English.
Thank you, Gina. Stella?
Bonjour. My name is Stella Kay. I grew up in the area, out in Odin. And then after that, I went to Michigan State, met my husband, got married, and we lived down in Ohio for 30 years. And I came back about 5 years ago. After my mother passed, I feel that she told me to come back here. And then her and the elders, or my ancestors, told me that I needed to be in this position. So I'm here to try and help. I want to help our people grow. I want to be here to help the tribe become strong financially. And I guess that's it. You got it.
Thank you, Stella. Now from our second team, Fred.
Thank everybody for showing up today. We look like we're having 1/3 of the crowd that showed up the first time around. Much appreciated. I know there's a big power got away. To introduce myself, my fellow tribal citizens, my name is Fred Kiogma, son of Augustine and Helen Kiogma of Indiantown. My grandparents on my father's side were Augustine and Catherine Kiogma of Indiantown. On my mother's side, Amos and Ida Chingwa Shawa of Indian Road near the infamous Lake burnout in 1900. I am the proud father of my daughter Feather and my son Bryce. I am a former tribal chairman, a former member of the Hidalgo Casino Resort Board of Directors, and retired Gunner Sergeant of the United States Marines. My priorities: support annual funding for affordable housing, establish a warrior veterans liaison office, restore the legal and proper balance between the separation of powers, support the preservation of our culture, language, and continued treaty rights, support zero tolerance policy for any racial discrimination or racial intimidation in the governmental workplace or function, and support economic diversification. Our continued sole reliance on the casino funds for 40% of the government budget is unsustainable in the long term. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. It's much appreciated. Jim Quetch.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Deb.
Thank you. Ani Nigazi kwa indigenous class Michigan. My Anglo name is Debbie Young, and my Indian name translates to leader woman. Since I was given that name back in the 80s, it has also been translated as leader woman and fighting woman, and I try to walk that path. I've worked Indian country programs for over 20 years, and I'm from Escanaba. Actually, my family is from Maine, and I transferred down to Ingham County as the Indian outreach worker, so I did that position in both areas. And I also worked the Indian education program up in Escanaba. And the other path I walked actually is the political field. I worked many different campaigns and worked for different representatives, as well as working in the mayor's office. And I also served as the county commissioner for 13 years before taking on the challenge of being a vice chair in the previous term. I really try to do my best for people, and oftentimes it's looking at the greatest good for the greatest number, and what is going to help sustain our tribe for the next 7 generations. And I think that is how we need to really move forward and look at how do we make these decisions so that we can sustain our people. And with that, we really hope that you support our team in helping progress our tribe into the future with prosperity. Be much.
Thank you, Deb. Now we're going to go into the question and answer, and any questions that you have for the candidate team or all of them, just let them know. Raise your hand and Ollie will be over to bring you the mic.
Yes, this is for Fred. I'm sure here's Petrovsky, tribal elder. I would like to hear your views on tribal preference and hiring.
Tribal preference is stated in our Constitution as far as that, the laws following it, is I don't have a personal preference with the tribal preference, per se. It's not up to me. That's already written in law. That's already been interpreted by many lawyers, been interpreted by our tribal council. The tribal preference, we fall back on it, and it's easy enough to look at the black and white where that all comes from and how it's applied. I know a lot of places in the community have a misunderstanding about the tribal preference. And I would advise anybody that has that misunderstanding to get a clarification. A lot of times the tribal preference isn't what people want to hear when you get the legal aspect of it. And I've always charged and believed that if that wants to be changed, where we hire only our tribe, then the tribal council needs to step up and change the wording in that and say, we will hire only our people. The tribal preference goes out into the whole realm of Indian country in Indian law and federal law, but it's dictated to us by what we've already written, what we abide by. Tribal preference is a great thing. I just totally believe in tribal preference, but with my background, I also believe in the total belief of the best qualified individual. And with that said, people don't understand. Again, if you got a high school degree, got a college degree, and you are the same people, one's white, for lack of anything else, one's Indian, and it comes down to the selection, that tribal takes precedence over it. Not if you're a high school graduate and you got someone with a 4 to 6 year degree filling that bill up, walking in and saying, I'm tribal, I can take that position. No, you can't. It's not legal to do that. We have all the authority to do that. The tribal council will step up and reword the law. But that would bring in a whole other aspect of dysfunction if we do it that way. But yes, on a personal level, I do believe in tribal preference.
Oh, yeah, hang on. Gina wants to comment on that.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I don't entirely agree with Fred here. We do have a tribal preference law, and it is listed in there how the preference goes, you know. And it does have, like, if the tribal citizen meets the minimum qualifications for these positions, then they have the actual first chance at those jobs. And then it goes on to say, people of other tribes, and then non-tribal people. And we did that, and I worked on that law along with everybody else, and we did that because we encourage our people to come home and work for us. We have our children in school getting their college degree, and we want them to come home and take over. We're not getting any younger here, and our youth need to come back and work, you know, because some of us are getting up here, and it's going to be time for us to enjoy the time, and we need our people to take care of our people. We wish.
The trick isn't so much in the law and tribal preference, to get around what concerns you with it. If the job descriptions and the qualifications listed in the job descriptions were better worked, then I think you'd have better success at what you're trying to do.
Go ahead. Is it out?
No, can I do this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, tribal preference. I want to thank Regina and Stella for hitting me inside the head with it. But the job description will dictate that also. You know, if you got a minimum job description and it mentions high school diploma, college degree or something, and it does state the minimum qualifications. So it has to meet those minimum qualifications first for that specific job. And that's another part of it, Sharon, I think where people misunderstand the tribal preference. You know, if you got the minimum qualifications, like they said, yes, so be it. It's there, it's written. It's, you know, it's just a misconception that some people have out there. Chip what?
I just think that we need to pay more attention when we write our job descriptions, which is something I have on the list for the HR director to work on. But I have her working on a bigger project, or another project right now. So when she's done with that, we're going to have her start working on job descriptions and making sure that the minimum qualifications are truly minimum qualification for that position.
Yep, thank you.
John?
I got a second part for tribal preference. After the placement or hiring has been done and we have a person who is non-native, I have not seen any sensitivity training to the point of where we as a community, we have our traditions, we have our culture, and we have a certain way of doing things and assisting the citizens when they need assistance. And I'm asking both things, what are your requirements going to be for sensitivity training? And years ago, there was talk about mentorship programs, and I've yet to see that really put into action where, okay, we'll hire you under the condition of you will be mentoring and training a Native person who will in fact replace you at some given point as part of the condition of being hired. Again, both teams have like a response.
Thanks, John. John, what you're talking about was years ago when we said mentoring. What we were trying to do at that point, and I was over on council, is we did 2-year contracts. And that way we did not obligate that permanent job to a non-tribal person. And if we had kids in school that were going to school or people that were studying to take them positions, at least that position would be available when they got completed with their schooling or whatever we had asked them to do. And what was your first part of your question, John? I'm sorry.
Sensitivity
Oh,
training.
right.
We as a culture and a nation, we look at things a certain way.
Correct.
We look at how we would handle a certain situation. The sensitivity training for non-native doesn't understand our way.
Right. And so then when Stella and I have been working on stuff with the HR director and stuff, we do have non-tribal people in those positions to get them some of the trainings or the teachings. Like I have an elder that's working up in one of my departments now, and she helps us out sometimes. She brings us some of the stories and stuff at the director's meeting. But also we do have up in H&R, they do the Seven Grandfathers teachings, in which each month they take a different teaching and they work with that and stuff, and people do attend that. So some of them are getting the training, John.
A couple of weeks ago, I actually attended a training for tribal human resource professional certification. So I passed, happy to say that. But I did take the HR director and made her go with me, and she took the classes. And while I was there, I came up with a whole laundry list of things that I would like her to work on, and sensitivity training for directors at a minimum, managers. But it's a discussion that's already been started.
I guess I don't want to beat the dead horse there, but that falls within the realm of the Human Resource Department. And that was a workable thing that we had when we were in office also. Can we expound on it? Yes, it can always be expounded. But it takes tribal citizens, if we got the knowledge out there, to volunteer the time to come in and teach the non-tribal employees literally our heritage, our culture, throw them a couple of words or something where they're more comfortable. And I would actually be very pro even having tribal citizens attend those type of sessions just to get a reiteration of it. Because not all of our tribal people are in depth in knowledge. They're all not pipe carriers, we're not dancers, we're not drummers, we're not fluent in language. So we need that reference point all the time to reinvigorate our tribe with that. It's just not because when we just concentrate on non-tribal employees, we're already building a wall around them when we're trying to build a cohesive unit in the community in this building to be positive working employees. So I'm all for that, and it sounds like what they have in place is workable. We'll take a look at it and expound on it, and definitely keep the tribe apprised of what we're doing. Chief Welch.
Deb, did you want to comment on that?
What he said.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Fred, thank you. You brought up a very good point, about native and non-natives, because we do have a lot of natives that weren't raised in a traditional cultural manner, so you can't be selective. But my question to you, or to both of you, I don't know if you're still taking a blanket,
Yes.
Questioning, but what are your plans to reach the community outside the service area? That seems to be a big issue, is helping those citizens who don't live in the immediate area, and whoever wants to answer first, because Either one.
Good question, Julie, and we do hear that a lot from our citizens outside the area. And that's why when I was over on council, you know, we did some of the services that we did offer and stuff where we were able to put our own money into it. We made sure that it was available for all of them. The ramps program for the elders, you know, the food and utility, the hearing aids, the dental. But also, I was just down at a hearing down in New Buffalo down there. We met with some of the federal agencies and stuff, and that's what we had brought up as part of our time in there with them is the fact we would like to see them adjust some of the grants so we can service all of our people, not just the people within the service area. We want to be able to reach out to all of our people, so we ask them to take that into consideration when they have some of the grants that have qualifications and, you know, special things that you can do with it. We did ask them to take that into consideration. Because I told them not all of our people are able to come home and live here, and we want to take care of all of them. So they wrote it down and they said they would follow up with us. So at least we, you know, let them know that we're trying to work that way.
In addition to what Gina had just talked about, one of my pet projects since I've come over as vice chair is putting together a strategic plan, a strategic vision for the entire tribe, not just the locals. So we've since hired a great woman, her name is Annie Doyle, and her primary job is to work on the strategic plan for a comprehensive plan for what the tribe is going to invest in or what we're going to focus on. So as part of her comprehensive plan, she will be traveling to the different places in the state, Detroit, Lansing, Grand Rapids, and I think the plan was Escanaba also. But she does plan on holding meet and greets down there to talk to the citizens outside of the area on what they would like to see. So Andy's on
it. Yearly, semi-annually, quarterly, those people, we just did it again when we were running. We went out there and did meet and greets in these areas, and the same thing goes, yeah, must be election time. Well, where's the rest of the tribal council and the other teams that are running for the chairman? You guys forget us in Grand Rapids and Lansing and Detroit and Escanaba. And that's if you look at these maps, probably almost 3/4 of our citizens live outside the tribal boundaries. So we need to be very proactive to try to be inclusive of what they're doing. The hearing aid program, when we were in office, was very well run. Then it went up the money's got short, but it's hearing, people are deaf every day. It just doesn't, you can't take away that line item that goes there. But in the outlying areas, when we get back in office, we're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We're going to hold meet and greets out there. We're going to put everything on the Facebook that we can. We're going to establish a Facebook page. We're going to be more proactive and letting everybody know what we're doing. But that was a very good question, Joe, thank you.
One thing is that we do have qualifications within the treaty. Fred is right there, but a lot of the grant funding that we get, they put the qualifications in there, so we can get grant funding to, hopefully to act without our service area, without changing the treaties. It's within the grants that you get the qualifications.
A lot of this, when you talk about, not using grant funding, we do know they put a lot of stipulations on there. So let me ask you this, because right now we rely so heavily on gaming. What other big plans for economic diversity do you see? Have you visited other tribes that have different businesses that are bringing in a lot of dollars? Because we've concentrated so much on just gaming, and we really need to expand that. So what ideas do you have on business?
The diversification of and our self-reliance on a casino has been been a sore spot with us for a long time. I mean, the first time we were around in office and stuff, we ran on the premise of diversification. And diversification entitles you to think outside the box, get out of the way from the casino. Okay, one of the most positive, industrial, successful tribes out there, I believe, was the Choctaw. And I talked with Congressman Cole, and they are up there and just shy of $1 billion. What they did the hard way was to figure out that the casinos was there as a stepping stone. And then when their citizens didn't want to go to college, they didn't want to go to high school, they wanted to do a lot of things. What they found out was they're very comfortable working at a gas station. So what they did was pull their money together and bought the gas station. The people that were well qualified to work at the bank, the tribal citizens, they bought the bank. All this was within conjunction with the local citizenry saying, hey, the tribe's actually doing a good thing here because now the tribal citizens can stay with their job, they're at the bank, they're at the grocery store, they bought all of these things progressively. And what they did was say, hey, we own 51%, you guys own 49%, we're going to keep going. And it hurt me when I was here watching Listenberger's construction, or landscaping go down because of lack of workers. And that is such a good blue-collar job that we have, seasonal, heavy times in the summer, snow in the winter, but it's all wrong. We have to think outside of the box, and we're always pro doing that. When we were in office, we were at every Michigan Economic Development Conference we could. We got beat up about it because people perceived it as you're trying to walk in the other world, not just take care of us here. And that is a big part of it, because if we don't walk successfully in two worlds, our world and a dominant society, we're going to stumble in both worlds. So we need to look up at everything that's possible: construction companies, landscaping, hotels, banks, every place where our tribal citizens are working. We need to be owning those things, and we can do that in tribal council with their wherewithal and their purse strings and a good business plan. We can make these things happen. It just takes time, but we need to be going in that direction, because right now, for the next 4 years, what's going to happen at the federal level is definitely going to impact us here in tribal and Indian country big time. But I am very pro diversification on anything. Too much.
What a great advertisement for the tribal planner going out there, talking to the citizens, to see what they feel needs to happen. And one of the things I'm sure she'll come back with is economic diversification. So we do have the shops at Victories going in. I think the last time I talked to Emma Proctor, we should see movement of the dirt starting pretty soon. And then I think we're supposed to have a building by September. So that's going well. One of the things that I would like to focus on is trying to figure out what we have, making that work, right? We seem to be really good at going out and buying things, not so good at figuring out how they're going to be run. So when people come to me with ideas, I'd like to see a plan. I'd like to see a business plan of some sort, right? There's all kinds of help out there to get citizens help in creating, the Small Business Association will help you put together a business plan. But I guess I'm for economic diversification, but I would like to look more inward first and figure out what we have and figure out what is the best use for that, which is also one of the things Annie is working on. I believe that when she goes out and talks to the citizens, she's going to go out there with a map of all their different properties and, what do you see, what would you like to see here, 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 and here, and then, at least kind of focus what we're going to diversify into that way. So we're not just shooting at a dartboard.
Thank you for the question, Julie. And as you asked if we have talked with other tribes and stuff, when I go out and I travel, or if they contact me and stuff, we have discussion as to what's working for them and what's not working for them, and we try and share the information back and forth. And right now, there's I can't remember if it's Gun Lake or one of them, their farming has really taken off and stuff. And so they were giving us some, different ideas and stuff, how to turn our farm into a profit. And I think with the farm board being able to talk to the few I have and stuff, I think they're heading in the right direction. They've got some big plans coming up, and I'm very excited with what they're trying to do.
There are a lot of cash crops out there that the tribe could be making money on. I have one more question and then I'll stop.
Sure.
Yeah. I am so grateful to Michelle Chenwa because I've got 2 degrees through that. But Fred touched on one of the issues that we need to start talking about is that a lot of our citizens want trade. They want trade school. They want that trade education. So, that is one thing that I just am recommending to, whichever team makes it, that is something that we pursue because a lot of citizens, they don't want to go to school. They don't want to get that degree, but they do want to know a trade. So, just food for thought. And I'm done. I'm out of here. Drop the mic.
Julie, that is exactly right. In fact, a lot of the surveys and statistics out there do point to the fact that it's the vocational training, technical training that's going to really pay the higher dollar for a lot of our people anyway. That 4 years of college cannot compete with some of the more technical training that's out there and the wages that they get. For instance, an X-ray technician, you can go to school for 2 years and make close to $100,000 a year. So that's exactly right. But I did want to touch on some of the diversification ideas. While we were in office, we were actually invited to the tribe that Fred was referencing to kind of look around and see everything that they have and talk about the history and how they got there, so that it would kind of give us some clues and ideas and help us to think even more outside the box than what we have. I went down to visit my daughter in Dallas, and while we were there, she works at the Indian Health Center down there. Her boss is a tribal member with the Choctaw, and we went up to a gala that they were having. They had this annual gala, and I think it was probably in their 30th year or something like that. It is a big fundraiser where they get things that are donated. They have silent auctions, and then they also had the regular auction during the dinner and everything. And they raised thousands of dollars, and it was for their health center up there. And that's what helps sustain them to do some of the extra programming that grants and IHS doesn't cover. And that's something that I would like to see as an alternative and become an annual big event where we invite the entire region, people to come and, take part, participate. We'll take the money.
I'm just going to add one more thing since you brought it up. I have been in conversations with Emily Proctor, a tribal council member, about her and I going around visiting all of the tribes and trying to get a peek into their economic development. And one of my main goals would be to go down and talk to the Pokagans, because they had that successful Manova Manson program. And I've talked to Troy, that's the director of that organization. I've talked to Troy at the last NFOA about going down there, and he is more than willing to talk to me and give me whatever tips he can give me. So.
And also, Julie, we do have, through our SEEDS program with Shiloh up there and stuff, I know that we do have tribal members that have been taking that, so they don't have to take like the other courses. And we just had the success stories. One of our tribal members went through Shiloh, worked with the SEEDS program, and got a placement over at one of the factories here. So we, it's small, but we're at least working towards helping the citizens find jobs.
I'm sitting here online, not online, but chatting with my sister and Joan. They have a question that they would like me to ask. This is word for word from what she's saying. I would like to know, sexual harassment occurs when such behavior creates a hostile, offensive, or intimidating work environment. Both Chairman Fred and Regina were made aware of. Previous tribal administrator, Albert, and with no intervention or corrective action, what will you do different to protect tribal citizens and tribal employees?
Actually, I want to be careful because this was personnel issue stuff, and so we have to be very careful. But if she wants to talk about, her personal things, when I come over and I took over as the chairman at that point, there was things that they were saying, people were saying were happening and stuff. I had the tribal police involved. I had an investigation and everything done, and we took the facts and we did what we legally had to do. So, other than that, I would rather not talk about personnel issues.
Amanda Wallace, you read the question again. Was this during our tenure or after the fact?
I'm not sure what it was.
Would like to know. Would like to know sexual harassment occurs when such behavior creates hostile, offensive, or intimidating work environment. Both Chairman Fred and Regina were made aware of previous tribal administrator Albert, and with no intervention for corrective action, what will you do different to protect tribal citizens and tribal employees?
All right, yes, again, that's a personnel issue that was handled by the Human Resources. And it's also one that you can't correct. Everything's already written down: sexual harassment, intimidation, all of that's an employee handbook. Again, some of the things that happen may not have the results that people want. But right now, we can't act on anything on innuendo. Okay, we ask so many people, if you have any knowledge, information, hard factual, come forward. Because if you just tell us, or you tell Regina or anybody in leadership position, this happened, I think it happened, that's not going to hold up in a firing. It's not going to hold up in a court of law. You got to have some facts in there, so we can't operate on innuendo and partisanship. It has to be by the book. And when you do those things, you're actually protecting that employee. Okay, you got to protect both sides of it, and that's the hard part of it. But sexual harassment, intimidation, those are clearly defined in the employee handbook, and it's not tolerated. Jim, go ahead.
And Thunder, just to follow up on that, I did forget, we are working on a new employee handbook, and we did add it in the employee handbook that the management cannot fraternize with their workers.
I have one more question I'd like to bring up. You were talking about economic diversity. There's a whole bunch of stuff that falls into that category. One of them was the Native American hiring. When someone's qualified for it, and Fred touched on it, high school diploma, college, so on and so forth, where does experience trump over the college? If you have more experience than the person that is
No, thank
I'm a big believer that there's a lot to be said for the School of Hard Knocks. I can give you personal examples of family members of mine that didn't go to college, but I would say have just as much experience and probably more knowledge than the person that went to college. Okay, so when I'm in charge of the job description, I just feel it's so important when you're writing the job descriptions, make sure that those minimum qualifications are truly minimum qualifications for that job. Because to put somebody in there that doesn't meet those minimum qualifications or what they should be, you're just setting them up to fail, and that doesn't help anybody. So an example would be my brother. He was in the Navy. He went to the nuclear power training school in the Navy, but he does not have a college degree. So by writing the job description, or minimum qualifications as a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, he automatically wouldn't qualify. So job descriptions that I've been in charge of, I've been making the HR give me some kind of statement that I could put in there where years work, years experience in the field equates so many years of college. So in a lot of cases, it's 2 years of their experience to 1 year college. So I'm working towards getting that, so that real work experience does qualify you. I think it should qualify you for some jobs, because when I think about my brother, quite possibly the smartest person I know, not being able to work for the tribe because he doesn't have a college degree, that drives me nuts. So I'm supposed to tell you I'm not doing this just for my brother.
That's a very good point that you make. Years of experience, you alluded to 2 years of hard labor to 1 year of college degree. It all depends on what job you're going for. I have no qualms about that. I don't have a college degree. My career was made around teaching college graduates how to be a leader. That's what was my job in the Marine Corps, was to teach them. But that being said, years of experience, it depends on supervisors, it seems to be. I just want to relate, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I came home figuring travel preference. I could get in the casino as security. There was a job opening. Being a combat veteran, 22, 23 years in the Marine Corps, I figured I could go open security. I put my resume in. I didn't want to pull a travel preference card because I figured my resume would stand on its own. When it came down to it, it was for a supervisor's position. There was only 10 people in security, as a supervisor, I guess. And being in the Marine Corps, I was handling 135 to 140. And I submitted that to the Odell Casino, and there was a toss-up between me and a non-tribal person. The non-tribal person got the job. I didn't. Okay, so I left a bad taste in my mouth. But I didn't say that it was my fault, because literally the HR director looked at me and said, "Hey, have you ever worked security in a hotel?" No. And I knew then I was going in the wrong direction. She goes, "Have you worked security in casinos?" Like, no. And that's what you can lean on if you do the job description wrong. And they said you have 10 years of experience in a security environment, I probably would have gotten that job. It was just the way that job description worked. So that's just a lesson learned to me with the travel preference issue and the time in service that you have, So it does pan out. It's just about the word in the job description. It's a very good question, too, but
my question is, and I've had some experience related to this, is that what is your plans to help us continue as Anishinaabe people? We can continue to grow and be economically feasible and all of those things, but how do we assure that we maintain our identity as Odawa people? Thank you.
Good question, Arlene, thank you. That was one of my biggest concerns when I moved over to the executive side of the hallway over here. There was a lot of, we were running like a government, and I wanted to remind everybody, we're a tribal government. We're unique and stuff, and I felt like some of our lessons were being lost and stuff, instead of everything black and white, like, with representing employees and stuff. Let's do it the traditional way. So I brought an elder in, had her sit down with some of my employees that were having issues and work with them on respect. If we can respect one another and live in seven grandfathers' teachings, then we can do this. And that didn't seem to set really good, still had issues. So I brought somebody in and had them work on peacekeeping. And we need to keep our traditions in here, and that's one thing that I am very strong with, that we have to keep our values in our traditional and the 7 grandfather teachings in here with every decision that we make.
My name is Shauna Webelglass, and I'm from Harbor Springs, tribal member. My question is to both teams. If either one of you, each team was elected, I would like to know the 3 things that you would do first in office that you would like to accomplish.
Well, we'd like to continue on with what we're working on, Sean. The main thing right now is our strategic plan, so we can know where the tribal people want to go, so we can keep moving in that direction and work towards those goals. And then my second vision is my youth and my elders is my 3 main concerns, and that's what I continue to build on.
I guess I'm gonna answer both of these. I kind of got lost here. Yeah, good there, Sean. Can I go back to the other question first? I believe Arlene's question was what are we going to do to retain our culture and our heritage while we're in office, right? Was that the question? Okay. And that's always probably one of the problems that we do have. How do we retain our heritage, our culture, our language? It's an ongoing, very fluid situation that we find ourselves in. We have some of us that want to engender ourselves deep into the culture and our heritage, and then we got to throw up a wall to the ones that don't go to powwows or don't talk the language or these type of things. What we need to do is, to bring in the elders, the ones that know the dances, the ones that know the language, all of these things. The language department has grown by leaps and bounds. When we got in office, I think we put a little extra funding in a line item for the powwow, because we wanted to grow the powwow. And then we got beat up about that. It's a competition powwow. Well, that's beside the point. We have relations, and that's the only time that they come to see us during competition powwows. So they come out to our powwow. We have our traditional powwow, and we have our traditional ways, our ghost suppers. I came here about a month and a half ago, I think it was, and it was a round dance. That was a beautiful thing to see. I've never seen so many of our Anishinaabes gathered in this room having a good time. We need to start reaching out and do those things, because what we're finding ourselves out doing is society is passing us up, and we're trying to stay stagnant for a little bit. But we got to make sure that society doesn't forget who we are. We can bring our own dances forward, learn all of these things, just be more proactive at it. It's just a very ongoing situation that we're going to look at. 3 accomplishments. That was Sean. I'm sorry. You want to see what our 3 accomplishments will be if we're in office, right?
The first things that you want to roll out to get elected.
The very first thing we're going to roll out is the budget. We're just going to roll out the budget, and we're going to go back 3 years and look exactly at all the numbers. We're going to look at all the line numbers and everything. It's just going to be a long, drawn-out process. We got to take a look at our end goal. Going to reestablish Veterans Liaison Office, which is sorely needed. That got caught up in a political quagmire the last time around. We're going to have a very affordable the housing plan that's got to be have to have the cooperation of tribal council, okay, and those type of things. The last time around, we had a very good hold on that. And had we been in office right now, we'd have 4 houses on the ground. We don't have that. And the recruitment of our employees is the third thing. We got to find those. When we were in office, we made every effort to get our people home. The one for the elders department, the top one that we had was a tribal elder, master's degree, 40 years experience, everything. And at the last minute, she changed her mind. And we begged and pleaded with her so hard. We're just trying to get the enrollment of the tribal employees a lot higher than they are. Jim, go ahead.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of read my question because I wrote it earlier.
I was reading about how the Traverse City Commissioners unanimously adopted a resolution to source all the energy for its operations from renewable energy sources by 2020. So I'm wondering, do any of you envision a similar goal regarding our tribal operations? Such a resolution could lay the groundwork for improved collaborative
relationships with neighboring civic entities? Because I know there's been some trouble with the boundary they happening through like unifying committed actions and policies that expand the range and efficacy of those much needed environmental practices. From a cultural perspective, we should be at the forefront, and it goes whatever you say, of efforts to more carefully consider the impacts of our decisions and actions on the natural world. That's what we're instructed to honor, love, respect, esteem. So I'm wondering of your thoughts on what you envision to promote that sort of environmental vision and responsibility. Perhaps that tied to economic diversification and things like renewable energies. And I feel like that would really invigorate our youth also thinking of things in line 5 and how people are so passionate at this standing around. You know, that seems like the source for the direction and so many things that we've been talking about. What are your thoughts on the long-term vision with the strategic planning? Is there a focus on environmental kind of renewables, things like that? This didn't work, sorry.
Actually, as a matter of fact, solar panels are a big part. Renewable energy is a big focus that we hope to have in the strategic planning. We actually got a grant that we're getting ready to put out. So a solar panel array, we're just at this point trying to figure out where on the property it would go. So it won't be, I think it's 8%. This first pass in will make up 8% of all the electricity used here in the government complex. But there's another grant following to add another bank down after that. So it's something we're working on, that we're actively looking at. Our environmental department is very keen on renewable energy. We actually have solar panels up at the fish hatchery as well. So we're working on it. It will be part of the strategic vision, the strategic plan. And if it's not, we make sure that you bring it up when we have these citizens meetings that this is something that we should be working towards. Although I think both the tribal council and the executive all feel that this is important.
And also to feed on that goal, we do have environmental so that we don't get into a situation, you know, where, because Mother Earth is our Mother Earth, you know, we're here to protect her, and they make sure that we don't do anything to harm her.
I guess to round out your question and to concise it, it was working more collaboratively, I guess, with making a less imprint on the world, fossil fuels or whatever. With that being said, if we look at Manistee and Little River, they have a very great collaboration with the county and the city with their sewage plant. They crossed the boundary lines, they crossed reservation lines. And I feel with that being said, we have to be at the forefront, not just, you know, at the Enbridge pipeline protest or whatever. We need to go in with a game plan. We need to be making sure that the county and the state and the local cities are understanding that we as tribal people, our intent is to preserve the water as clean as we can. And because we all rely on it. But when we don't have that, we need to make sure that we are out there doing that. We need to involve the citizens to come forward and say, hey, I got an expertise in air quality, I got a citizen, a biologist, you know, these type of things. If we move forward with an environment footprint going forward, we can actually accomplish these things. When we're in office, we worked with the state on quite a few of those issues just in the beginning stages because we had a lot of grandiose plans, but obviously after 18 months it didn't turn out. So, you know, we'll just pick right back up with the state and the county and the cities because we make sure that we cross the political spectrum. And here in DC, you know, you got to get work with the Democrats and Republicans, cross their lines, say how can we make it better. We're looking at it from a point of view of taking care of our land and our waters and our forestries, our fish, all those things. We just need a more vocal issue at that level.
Arlene?
Basically mine is a comment. I would say to the little girl, forget what her name is. You get old, you do that. But yeah,
Nicole.
but anyway, and makes me feel really good that she listened to what I said, and she has the skills to probably broaden the interpretation of what I said, and she was right on. And the thing that is that maybe that's a demonstration of, you know, I was raised by grandparents, and so they influence the way I speak. And a lot of that resulted in, you know, you need to listen beyond the speech, and you have to listen, you know, because the grandparents and, you know, and all the elders that I was involved in, you had to listen because they didn't really spell it out and do step 1, 2, 3, and 4. You may have to clarify. But, and actually, what I was referring to is that Minnow Bimod's win, is my understanding, is living not only the good life, but when life's the way it is to be in balance, and that should be involved in everything that we do. And that culture is not a separate entity. It's part of our life and the way we live our life. And my understanding is that should be evident in all aspects of our life. And that we should have that reminder in everything we do, not only work, but in our interaction with the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
I mean, Joseph here. This is a question for you. You had brought up the son grandfather.
Okay,
If you don't touch the cord, just hang on to it and don't wiggle it around. It should be fine. Once you get it going.
Could you tell us what they want?
the 7 teachings: love, respect, honesty, bravery, humility, truth, and wisdom. I have that on my computer, and every morning when I light up my computer, I have all of them listed, and I have what it means, and I read them every morning before I start my day. Thank you.
Yes, this is for Fred and Bill. Since you were voted out of office last time, can you give me some enlightenment as to what happened and how would you prevent that this time? What would you change about your administration?
Well, appreciate the question. I thought that was going to be the first one today. And I guess what you want to know is what happened to it. I mean, we literally laid our faith into the tribal citizens and the employees. The situation that was going on within one of the departments. When you're in that position of being chairman and vice chair, tribal councilor, there's a lot of things that you can't say out loud. And we could have been unethical and put it all out there on the street, what was going on, how it happened, when it happened. But that's not us. It's not what a chairmanship is, you know. It's not what happens up here. And what happened was a sad situation involving a tribal and a non-tribal person. It involved intimidation. It involved a reckless disregard for a lot of things. And we try to hold it in line, you know, and I'm not going to besmirch somebody that walked on. We had a lot of long conversations with the person. And, you know, by the book, what what happened, it happened. Was it legal? It was legal, okay? But how would we change it? And I thought long and hard about that while we were going through it. Because when it happened, it was an employee issue. By the time we got done weeks, months later, our family name had been dragged through the mud. There was rumors on the streets that I was beating my dad, I took his house, everything. There was everything going on out there in my family of harassment and everything. But we just kept going because we thought, we're going to get this. The people are going to see it, the employers are going to see it for what it's worth. But what's not happening when you stay by the book, a lot of bad feelings come out. A lot of impersonal stuff comes out. So if we would change that, no, we followed the law. We had the lawyers look at it. We had the HR director, travel administrator, everybody was involved in trying to toe the line. The employee handbook was followed. And that goes back to people, if the answer isn't what you want, then you have to sit down with the people in charge and say, hey, am I being misunderstood someplace? But the whole aspect was done legally. It was done within the realms. It wasn't done with a bad taste in our mouth, like trying to take one person out or nothing. We ensured that every aspect was looked at. How would we do it? Again, we would look at the tribal constitution, the tribal employee handbook, what was written, case law, everything, and make sure every advantage is given to that employee. But, what was going down, there was only a few people that actually knew what was going on. There was a lot of things. I went to Grand Rapids and heard it. I went to Lansing and heard it. I mean, I was just get run over the coals because we supposedly pulled strings to put a non-tribal person in place. No, that job was advertised. It was advertised many times over. But the lesson learned, I guess, I have to be more vocal as far as putting the word out to the community. But if it's an employee situation, we're going to play it the exact same way. Confidentiality has to be the rule of the law here. It just has to be. Because it could be anybody. It could be any one of the 200 employees that get drugs through the cold like that. And they wanted the opportunity to be vindicated. And that's fine. And we made sure that was the way it was going to happen. Going forward, we're going to establish a Facebook page. It won't be anything to do with innuendos and stuff like that. It will be all factual. It will be totally up to date. We're going to go to the tribal council, fight for the community, fight for the housing, and make sure that we do things more open in that aspect. But when it does come to that, it's confidentiality of the rule of the day. Too much.
And tribal member. Bell's Fishery was over in tribal council. Now it's under the executive. What do you think you can do?
Folks, can we put our cell phones on mute, please?
So, what kind of actions would you do, Fred, on the executive or the Bells because it's closed now?
We're in office. I'm going to call Regina and Stella back into the office on a day off and say, what happened up at Bell's Fishery? Okay. Obviously, that's a current situation. It wasn't there when we were in office. We still had Bell's Fishery going out there. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it. I can tell you this, that when we did have Bell's Fishery going, we probably were very vocal about what it was costing the tribe. Okay, we were using that with the thing of we're gathering fish. Okay, but when we do that, you go down that road, you're gathering fish, but you're also trying to justify a business. And they kept going back and getting an influx of money from tribal council every once a year. I mean, you're probably looking at upwards of $2 to $3 million into that place, and it didn't pan out. And it's not that we didn't want it to succeed. What we were looking at was we can see it coming that this isn't going to succeed in the long term. So we either need to pull the plug on this, go in another direction. But we obviously kept losing that because they kept getting monies. And when it fell, it was a sad day for us. Now, even though we're wearing an office, it was like, we just wish we could have done more to get council to understand that make these, it has to stand on its own. If it's a business, it has to stand on its own. Right now, I'm not sure the situation, what it is, if the buildings are up there. I really don't foresee if it's going to go back at a profit margin. I mean, because it's a very competitive, low-dollar business. I mean, you're looking at people from here to New York City and back to Chicago and Detroit area for their selling that fish. The competition is very strong, and our fishery is actually pretty small, but it was, we pumped a lot of money into it, and I'm not so sure what we're going to do with it now.
Andrew, I was sitting on council when we bought Bell's Fishery, and we bought Bell's Fishery. We basically knew it wasn't going to make any money. We bought it for our treaty rights, for our fishermen, and to make it so it was more for the fishermen to be able to sell their fish, because, you know, to be able to help them out in that situation, because some of the other fish markets, you know, were selling theirs. Our fishermen were not giving them hardly anything for the fish. So when we bought it, we knew it probably wasn't going to make a profit. But you know what? It has cost the tribe a lot of money. The building is in very sad shape. It would take a whole lot to get it up and going again. So we took the action. The council asked us to come back with a plan. So we took a plan to council and stuff, and we decided it was time to close it down. Do I want to end the fishing, you know, for the fishermen stuff? No. My dream is hopefully that we can take over on King's End property where there's nothing been going. And when the money, and we have the money and the time is right, to put a fishing thing over there for them to be able to still utilize and stuff. But the Bell's property, you know, we had the city of Mackinac after us. The sewers were backing up. IHS, when they come and did their investigative studies and stuff, inspection. Thank you, Stella. I mean, we had a lot of things that we had to try and clean up. It just wasn't there. And the council was to the point where, you know, they put a lot of money into that, and they said there'd be no more money. So it was our recommendations. And after we did that, then the council put Bell's back under the executive. So we got it back. And so, you know, we've been coming up with plans. We are going next week to meet with the mayor up in Mackinac City, because they have some ideas that they would like to see with that property. And so we will be going up and talking with them and deciding what we're going to do with Bell's property. And please don't anybody think we're selling it, because we don't sell our property. Only the citizens can, but we have ideas of what we could use that property for.
Would you guys like to take a break? This is all your. Yeah. Who's got the phone or the microphone?
Okay, after my question. I've got the mic. I heard you talk about formulating a strategic plan, but you know, those of us who have been around for a few years see that all the plans that the tribal council and executive put forward for the future of the tribe seems to fall by the wayside every time we have an election. I wonder how you guys are going to assure that the strategic plan outlasts you.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure that I have an answer. I know that when I have a strategic plan, that's my map for what we should be investing in, whether it be land or programs or people. That strategic plan will keep us, you know, following the map that's laid out. I would hope that by the end of the year, because that's how long this process is going to take, Andy will have put together a good enough plan that people, you know, the incoming administration, whoever is next, whoever follows us, will view it as a valuable tool, right? So good practices have you update your strategic plan every 3 to 5 years. Our current plan is over 10 years old. It's 10 years since anybody's looked at it. And one of the things that I noticed, what I saw when I was over working on the legislative side, we have a finite number of dollars that are available to us, X number of dollars. So I want to use the strategic plan to help me decide which programs to grow, right? Maybe there's some programs that only one person wants, and I'm paying $100,000 for this one program that benefits one person, right? That's not a good investment. I would much rather invest it in something that, say 100 people want. But I just really feel that without the guidepost of the strategic plan, you can't make sound decisions. So, and like I said, I hope that it's good enough so that whoever comes after us, that they'll see the benefit, the value of it.
That's a good question, Sharon. And that's what we're trying to do. And so, once a tribe, we have our vision and stuff. It's like every 4 years, that vision seems to change. And so we start all over and we have different, the money's being spent in different directions. But if we have the strategic plan, we can share it with who's ever next in there. And they know the dreams of the people. And so we can just, instead of taking that break and shifting on everything in another direction, hopefully they can continue with the vision of the tribe.
The strategic plan would not only help us decide what to do with general funds, it would also help us focus our energies in the way, how we go about getting grants as well. I kind of feel that our grants department, without any clear definition of what they're going after, that they're going after everything, which isn't a good use of their time, right? So if I can find out that what people are most concerned about is colon cancer, then I can send my grant people to go look for as many colon cancer grants as I can get. If I find out that what people are concerned about is Line 5, or the purity of the Great Lakes, then I can send my grants person to work on that. But I don't know if you guys are aware, but we have over 100 grants. The tribe has over 100 grants. And that's on top of, the general fund spending that we do. And it's really, without a cohesive direction that we're all going, I kind of feel like we're just these little ants scurrying around, right? And hopefully the strategic plan will kind of funnel these ants in a direction.
Strategic plan, and how come it gets lost every 2 to 4 years? That's it's a sad situation, but it's the way it is. I mean, what Regina and Stella said, it's one of those things with strategic plan, strategic vision. The best way to ensure that it gets done is put that in black and white. And hopefully, when the politics gets done, you walk in with the incumbents and sit down the day the results come in and start, okay, you got a strategic plan, Stella, Regina, where are you going? Let me see what you got. Then you try to incorporate with what you're wanting to do. You don't never just take a strategic plan and just throw it out the window. You got to take the good and the bad out of it. See where you're going to go. The problem has always been in politics is the general rule. When somebody gets in, they just throw everybody else's ideas out the window because they didn't agree with them. Well, when I came into office, I came in and saw the chairman. I sat down for 35 minutes with him, and that was it. That was the only turnover I had was 35 minutes. That's just the way it was. But with the strategic plan, you take a look at it, you put it down in black and white, and you pass it on. And if the incumbents say, well, or one people coming into the office say, I don't agree with that, then you let the citizens know we're not agreeing with that. When we got into office, we were looking around in the supply office in there, and we found one of the architectural drawings for the strategic plan that was supposed to be here in this 90-acre site. And I think it had a date on it, 2002 or something. And then, some of the ideas that we had, we thought were grand, a youth center, a gym, these things. It's already in black and white on a drawn out architecture map. And it just got lost in the faucet. It kind of fell through, people going down the road. And that was one of the things that we're gonna dust off. Is, you know, it was already written down, somebody paid for those prints, and it was up to us to go back to council and try to say, hey, this was already thought of, let's try to keep this thing successful over here, bring that youth over here. The building and everything was already planned out for us.
Scale model of it. Plus, plan for it without it.
Yeah, and that, yeah, that was one of those things, but that's how it gets lost. It's sad when it does, though.
My suggestion would be is when you're doing your plan and you're putting it all together, is to put that sustainability piece in it. So it's sold to the entire population, not just the small group that's in power right now.
That would be one of the reasons that Annie is going around. I mean, she's not, Annie is just, I mean, if you see her, you probably see a blur, because she's been everywhere. She's been to all of the commission meetings, she's gone to all the corporate charter board meetings. She, you know, anything that she could find, she's going to Emmett County Road Commission meetings. So she's getting a good handle on what, up here, what people might like, but she also has plans to go down to the major population centers and hold meet and greets down there where she can talk to them and have a visioning session down there. But she's got a very clear plan, you know, in her mind of how this is going to go, and I have great faith in Annie.
Stella's very correct on her statement about needing strategic planning in order to be able to guide the use of your funding. When we first got into office, that was one of the first things that we identified as a major need. We asked council if they had any priorities or strategic planning in place, and to help guide us in terms of when we put a budget together, how do we really use our dollars, our scarce dollars, to be able to focus on our areas of priority. And there really was nothing to help guide us at that time. So throughout, we were asking for some sort of strategic planning or a list of priorities so we could funnel our scarce dollars into the and maximize the use. At any rate, we had decided that if we couldn't get that kind of direction from council, then we were going to have to figure it out ourselves. And needless to say, that was kicked to the wayside. It's, we were no longer there. So anyway, very important to have that guiding principle.
Okay, everybody, let's take about a 15-minute break, and we'll come back in, and any more questions that we have, we can address them, and then we'll wrap it up.